air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio 1 o'clock news. First, here are the headlines. At least 18 soldiers and 7 civilians have been killed in a fresh clash in Tonj, north of Warrap State. President Salva Kiir has declared 3 days of national mourning in honor of the late Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation, Manawa Peter Gatkuoth. And the National Chamber of Commerce has attributed the skyrocketing food prices to a new Kenyan policy restricting road transporters to half loads and maintain the previous fees. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Helen Samuel. Now the news in detail. At least 18 soldiers and 7 civilians have been killed in fresh clash in Tonj, north of Warrap State. The fighting, which happened on Sunday, involved the SSPDF soldiers conducting cattle recovery and some armed youth in the area. According to Warrap State Information Minister, those killed including the Chief of Military Intelligence and the former Commissioner of Mayenjur in the defunct Gogrial State. Ring Deng Ading narrates to iRadio.
On Saturday, the acting commissioner issued the order to the soldiers to go and release some cattle. On the process, soldiers went to the cattle farm and released the number of cattle, and they were attacked by the civilian armed. The fighting took place until reaching to the Payam headquarters. The Pound base were attacked by civilians. Then the base withdrew before they reach the base. So the soldiers left the cattle and went back. So from there, they insist fighting the soldiers. And in the course of the fight, 18 soldiers were confirmed to be killed and 7 civilians. And there are some soldiers missing in action up to now. So they are still reporting to their headquarters of North County.
iRadio was not able to independently verify the death toll and the details of those killed in the incident. Efforts to reach the Warrap State authorities for comments were not immediately successful. However, the SSPDF spokesperson Major General Lurwai, who is currently on a visit to Kenya, could not comment on the matter. President Salva Kiir has declared 3 days of national mourning in honor of the late Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation, Manawa Peter Gatkuoth. South Sudan's national flag will be flying at half-mast for 3 days. Late Manawa died of high blood pressure on 18th of June 2022 in the Egyptian capital, Cairo. The latter was reportedly admitted at Freedom and Baraka hospitals in Juba due to chest pain before his evacuation to Egypt. Manawa's remains were laid to rest at Medan Simba in Juba this morning. Thousands of mourners gathered at the Simba ground to pay their last respect. Speaking to the mourners this morning, President Salva Kiir described Manawa's demise as premature. After declaring the 3 days of mourning, Kiir said there is no work as the nation mourns. Manawa.
Peter Gatkuoth kadam Junuba Sudan in different ways. Uma fi zol endu adawa mau. Lagayat Mamat, we are now mourning this young man, son of Peter Gatkuoth, who has died prematurely. And let us pray to God to rest his soul in eternal peace. Nasali menajil aulad Manawa Peter. You take care of them. Nas who will come across them, give them whatever they need.
Manawa was appointed as the minister in March 2020 in line with the revitalized peace agreement that came into effect on February 22, 2020. Besides his ministerial position, Manawa was also the chairman of the National Committee for Information and Public Relations and member of the SPLM-IO Political Bureau. The National Chamber of Commerce has attributed the skyrocketing of food prices to new Kenyan policy restricting road transporters to half loads and maintain the previous fees. This, according to the deputy chairperson of the Chamber of Commerce, Ladu Lukak. He says since last month, the Kenyan government decided that all transit cargo to South Sudan load half containers from Mombasa to Nairobi. The move by the Kenyan authority has been described by Kenyan Transporters Association as illegal and forced barrier on South Sudan cargo to Nairobi. In a press release issued over the weekend, the association says that they are seeking legal redress through lawyers on the new policy. It says the move is marginalizing South Sudan road transporters. The group says importers in South Sudan will then pass on the cost to the consumers. Ladu Lukak calls on the urgent intervention by the President of Kenya and South Sudan. Lukak spoke to iRadio in an exclusive interview over the weekend.
قطر من مومباسا لنيروبي بس غالبا تدفع $700 وبعد ما تدفع $700 ينزلوا كونتينر بتاعك في نيروبي وفي نيروبي هناك هيشيلوا منك جبانة ما معروف كم يعني سعر اللي بيرفعوا به كونتينر repeat the blue price للكونتينر لأنه بتعرف كان بيعملوه ب $8,000 ده لحد جوبا $8,000 ده لحد جوبا لكن هسه ده يعني معناته الكونتينر هيرفعوا من نيروبي $8,000 لجوبا وده كان مفروض 40 فيت لكن هسه بقى ده 20 فيت يا وجودي لانه كمان نيروبي بيقول يا اخي في حاجه اسمه ويت بريدج من ما داير كده الاجر ده يعني الشهر تومون يخربوه ببضايع الثقيله كونتينر 40 قدم ده شوف كده يعني ده هسه ده تنو ايه تاجه يعني معناته عندك يعني كونتينر كبير تقسمه على 2 عربات التأثير للمواطن الجنوبي كده جنوبيين يعني المواطن الجنوبي هو المضر.
Kenya Transporters Association says road transporters in Kenya are being disenfranchised by their government for reasons that are not clear to us. In 2018, the Kenya Railways Authority confirmed the order, but says it was reached through consultation with other players, including container freight terminal owners. This news is coming to you from iRadio. At least one person died and 8 others injured following communal fighting at Konyo displaced persons camp in Juba last evening. This is according to the police spokesperson, Major General Daniel Justin. He says the fight broke out last evening at 9:30 p.m. between two sections in an IDP's camp sheltering hundreds of households. The motive behind the fighting is not clear, but General Justin says the police are investigating. Justin told iRadio that the police arrested 4 leaders who allegedly triggered yesterday's fighting. He spoke to iRadio this morning in Juba.
Yesterday at around 10:30 in the evening, the displaced came in Konyo. A fight broke out between some youths from Murle and Anyuak. So as a result, one person was seriously injured. He was escorted to the hospital, but he lost his life. And then there were other 8 people injured. Our forces to calm down the situation. Now the weather and the situation in the place is normal, and we have managed to arrest 4 people. So the investigation is still going on.
General Justin said the police are patrolling the camp and the situation there is now relatively calm. Police have detained a soldier who allegedly killed his wife together with another man at the New Site residential area in Juba. The spokesperson for the National Police Service says the suspect found his wife and the unnamed man at home when he shot them dead. According to Major General Daniel Justin, the incident occurred on Wednesday last week at around 2:30 a.m. local time. The suspect, whose name is being withheld for security reasons, turned himself to the police after committing the crime. General Daniel spoke to iRadio yesterday.
في ليلة يوم 22 بالليل الساعة 2:30 في عسكري في الجيش رجع لبيته لقى مرته مع زين فقام ضربه في بيته ذاته ومشى سلم نفسه ومشينا فتحنا البلاط وعندك مدينة التحري جيسا وديناه المشرف والعسكري موجود في البلاط جاري التحري ده الحصل.
The incident happened a week after a man identified as Bobby Lual Akok shot dead his wife, Rebecca Anyonkot, along with a man at Bedouin Lounge in Juba. The suspect reportedly handed himself to police after the attack. The deputy police spokesperson is calling on the public to report any indisciplined police officers who harass civilians or cause public disorder. Brigadier General James Duck says this will help the government identify the bad officers who don't live up to their tasks. The remarks came amidst complaints from some members of the public about the way some police officers behave. Some accused police officers and some members of the other organized forces of being behind crimes in the country. Previously, residents of Juba complained of increased armed robberies in their respective suburbs. The transitional constitution of South Sudan mandates the police to prevent, combat, and investigate crime, maintain law and public order, protect the people and their properties. Speaking to iRadio this morning, James Duck encouraged the public to report any police officer who misbehave against civilians.
Police is mandated in Transition Constitution of Southern Sudan, Article 155, Section 11. What does it read? It reads that police is to protect the life and the property of every citizen. Police is supposed to combat terrorism and other uphold the constitution. So if the police does not fulfill its mandate and it seems not to adore the oath he has taken during his graduation, then you as a citizen, you have the right to raise your complaint. And we said in every 6 stations were mentioned, there is Okili Niaba, the prosecutor. You have right to walk to him, talk to him and tell him what has gone wrong. Another issue is to put is that the discipline, it starts from the training. Whether you are in the police college or you are in non-commissioned training center or you are in academic training. So if that guy did not adhere to your complaint, you have to raise your complaint because we will not know. You raise it. You don't fear.
President Salva Kiir has in the past accused the police and other organized forces of being behind night robberies in Juba and other towns in the country. Some officers have been accused and charged with serious crimes related to killing, rape, and destruction of civilian properties in areas like Yeye. You are listening to iRadio News, and now to the international news brought to you by MTN.
Freedom is everyone's desire. Freedom is what makes you and me happy. Freedom is called Hurea in my country. My telecom network has chosen to give me freedom. MTN is my network. I have the freedom. I choose affordable and reliable. Hooray Bundles is my way. MTN introduces to you Hooray Bundles, giving you the freedom to call across all networks with the SIM bundles. Subscribe by dialing *100 *3 *4 hash and get 15 minutes for only 100 SSP and 30 minutes for 150 SSP, valid for 1 day. Hooray, pure freedom. MTN, everywhere you go.
And now, Emmanuel Joseph Akile joins me with the international news. Good afternoon, Emmanuel.
Let's begin with South Africa, where authorities have revoked a nightclub's permit to sell alcoholic beverages following the deaths of at least 21 people, mostly teenagers, at the establishment. The cause of the deaths remains unknown. Yellow police tape has been used to cordon off the tavern where the teenagers died after a party on Saturday night. Police have also been sent there as forensic investigators carry out their work. Elsewhere, the African Union has called for an immediate investigation into the death of at least 23 migrants who died on Friday when a huge crowd tried to cross into Spain's North African enclave of Melilla. AU Commission Chairperson Musa Faki Mohammed said he was shocked and concerned about the treatment that African migrants receive when they attempt to cross international borders. The authorities in Morocco said some of those who died had fallen from the top of a border fence that separates Morocco and Melilla. More than 130 people managed to jump over the fence. And finally, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz says G7 leaders are staying united in their position to support Ukraine while being careful not to worsen the conflict. Olaf says the policies of G7 countries are very much aligned. Scholz added that the leaders are taking tough decisions to help Ukraine while avoiding a big conflict between Russia and NATO. Helen Samuel, that's all from the regional international scene. And back to you.
Thank you, Emmanuel Joseph Akile. And now to the sports desk, we have Moyo Jacobs. Good afternoon, Moyo.
Thank you, Helen Samuel. And to start with, West Ham have made departing Manchester United midfielder Jesse Lingard an offer to return to the London Stadium. The 29-year-old officially becomes a free agent on July 1st when his contract expires at Old Trafford. Lingard had a successful time on loan with the Hammers at the end of the 2020 to 2021 season and scored 9 goals in 16 Premier League starts. But he was denied another loan spell in January as United refused to deal with a rival for a European place. Meanwhile, West Ham are set to confirm the signing of goalkeeper Alphonse Areola from Paris Saint-Germain. Terms have been agreed with the French Ligue 1 champions for Areola, who spent last season on loan with the Hammers and will cost around 10.5 million euros. Areola impressed last time when he was in goal throughout West Ham's run to the Europa League semi-final, where they were beaten by Eintracht Frankfurt. Los Angeles FC hope to have a long-term partnership with Gareth Bale after the Welsh captain agreed to join the MLS side on a free transfer. Forward Bale, 32, is currently a free agent, having left Real Madrid after 9 years in Spain. Los Angeles FC co-president John Thorrington said negotiations with Bale had not been a financial conversation and expects the deal to be finalized within 10 days. Thorrington would not be drawn into the details of the agreement in place with Bale, but said that it would run beyond November's World Cup in Qatar, where Wales will be making their first appearance at a final since 1958. And finally, British women's number 1 Emma Raducanu and two-time champion Andy Murray are set for center court when Wimbledon gets underway on Monday. Raducanu makes her debut on the main show court against Belgian Alison Wittfunk at about 16 BST. The 19-year-old says she is ready to go at SW19 after a week of uncertainty caused by a side strain. Asked if it led to concerns she could not play, she said in a statement, and I quote, "There were moments in the week we were not really sure," end quote. Marey has also faced a race to be fit, but says the past few days have been really positive after being hampered by an abdominal injury which forced him out of Queens. End of iRadio Sports News, and back to you, Helen Samuel, in the studio.
Thank you, Moyo Jakabua, for the roundup of the stories from the sports desk. You are listening to iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here are the headlines once again. At least 18 soldiers and 7 civilians have been killed in a fresh clash in Tonj, north of Warrap State. President Salva Kiir has declared 3 days of national mourning in honor of the late Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation, Manawa Peter Gatquart. And the National Chamber of Commerce has attributed the skyrocketing of food prices to a new Kenyan policy restricting road transporters to half loads and maintaining the previous fees. That's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. You can get these stories and updates by subscribing to iRadio News Alerts on your MTN South Sudan number. Call 700 or dial star 700 hash and follow the instructions. If there is a story or an event you like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on Twitter at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30. I'm Helen Samuel. Thank you for listening.